a new wave. I could not believe my eyes. I saw a sunset. It was glimmering. The very sight made me so relieved. That dreadful day was finally over. What felt the most awful was my shattered heart. However, I'm even more glad that it was my final year at Iwatobi High. I fluffed up my pillow and began to lie down. Steve, the family cat, crawled up on top of my head. "What is it, Steve?" I asked as he purred and came closer to me. I pat him on the head, and I smiled at that super fat cat of mine. He seems like he gets bigger every minute. Anyway, I held on to Steve tightly that day and gave him a big squeezing hug, and we both fell fast asleep. As soon as the sun rose again, I stretched my arms very, very wide as the alarm clock went off. My eyes opened and squinted. It was already time to get up? I exclaimed as I turned off the alarm. I leaped frantically out of the bed sheets, and I rushed to the sink, rapidly brushing through all my pearly teeth, including that one that almost looks like a sharp one in the back of my mouth. Steve returned to the kitchen to see my mom, who was already brewing the tea. Mom smiled, and I arrived, and I sat at the table, and she served me freshly brewed green tea mixed with Earl Grey, one of her signatures. So I gently sipped the tea out of my cup. I saw no plans in the planner for today, and I just wanted to wonder why. I was curious if Mom had something that she wanted to tell me. Well, she said that she did. That there was a letter in the mail yesterday. It was a sealed envelope addressed to me. It was sealed, and I read the letter, and it said I got accepted to Meiji Chuo University. That college got back to me in a flash. Those entrance exams really paid off. I was so thrilled to be accepted as a student of that school. My mom's words of encouragement said, my mom gave me words of encouragement and said I was a star. But she said she wanted to spend quality time with me before we headed off there. And I wasn't sure what, She just giggled, and then we popped into the car, and I grabbed my purse and essentials and waved goodbye to Steve. And the car zoomed past our neighborhood town. Iwatobi is an island scenic town. It's near an old shrine where most of us go during the New Year. Pretty much everybody knows each other. There's familiar landmarks, such as the Ikebana shop, that was operated by my best friend, Chigusa Hanamura's mom, who I call Hana-chan. The Fisherman's Market, my old schools, the old swimming club building where my brother and his friends, also my friends, first met. So many memories of the place that I'll just cherish forever. As soon as we stepped out of the car, we went to the clothing store, filled with summer and island-themed clothes, and I picked up a couple of outfits. And my mom treated me to get my hair done at the Iwa-style salon. I got my split ends trimmed, and I kept it still long and styled with a half ponytail with some curls at the end. After all, I'm going to the city like Tokyo. I need to look my best. This is technically the second time I've been to Tokyo, but this time I'll be actually staying there. I hope to see Haru or the others, as I do miss them deeply. Things haven't been good lately without them. After all the beautifying, we returned home so I could pack up my Lucky Goldfish pencil pouch, a couple of campus notebooks, binders, Kawaii Daiso stationery, and Kanayo, my pet stuffed rabbit, and other essential things I could use. I packed all the clothes that my mom bought for me earlier today, and Steve purred and crawled into my room. Aw, Steve, were you sad? Don't you worry. I'll be back for you. I'll miss you too. Mom. Please take care. Please take care of him when I leave tomorrow. and I hugged Steve, and then I handed him his dish of water. Besides, Steve, I'll cuddle you in bed with me at night. Steve purred and finished drinking his water. I miss home, and sure, my mom will miss me too. She seems somewhat lonely, but I know she has some friends here now. My mom's name is Miyako Ling, or Mia, as she prefers to be called. She's currently working as a book and magazine editor. She proofreads articles for the local magazines and has close connections with authors in the area. Most of the books she works on, interestingly enough, are romance novels. My brother even enjoys some of them, even though I never seen him ask a single girl on a date. My favorite things about the magazines were the images. That's why I felt like I should study photography. I already signed up classes for it, and I wish to take gorgeous muscle body shots, but lately that just doesn't sit right in my mind. I had a rough senior year at Iwatobi High. I pushed on through, and I had got into a decent college. I wanted to be in Tokyo to connect to my old guy friends. Ray mentioned also being there, too. I know Haru and Makoto are there. I headed to bed early. It will be a long trip to get there, so I said oyasumi to Mom and Steve before I quickly fell into a slumber. I dreamed of getting lost in the city, and I feared that the piranha would come back and follow me there. It was terrifying. The alarm clock made a ringing noise that snapped me out of the nightmare. I jumped out of my bed and stretched my arms again, and I grabbed an even heavier backpack full of my things, brushed my teeth, thoroughly combed my hair, and then looked in the mirror to make sure there weren't any knots. It's always important for me to look my best. So I put one of my new outfits on, blush on my face, fix my eyebrows, eyelashes, and brows. I'm looking sharp. Well, it's time for breakfast, I said to myself as I climbed down the stairs. I quickly scarfed down the bacon and the eggs that my mother made for me. My mom's an excellent cook. I learned quite a bit of cooking from her. I thanked her for the breakfast, and now at that time I had to go. She thinks it was a little too early to leave right now. I'm not much of a morning person, but that was a nightmare, and that alarm woke me up. Eventually, after we chatted at the breakfast table, I carried my things to my mom's car. Yeah, I didn't get to learn to drive. How busy I was. My brother does, but it's not like he's gonna drive me. He seems to have a pretty active social life in Australia, where he's currently in college, so he's training to become an Olympic swimmer that our dad did not. It's like middle school all over again. It's okay. But at least he's in a better place now than he was back then. I must focus on my future, and my next chapter is upon me in the city. I'm going to own this year! Watch out, world! I, Gou Matsuoka, have arrived! See you next time! Now, I'll tell you how my college adventure begins.